Hello all and welcome, and I'm the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Den, where we're 100% raw and 100% real 100% of the time. So in this video, I would like to discuss a story first released by Vice, communist news outlet essentially, talking about Disneyland employees who are not getting what they feel they're entitled to. Yes, they're just not making enough money to make ends meet. And Disneyland should pay them more because they're entitled to more, because they need more, right? Sounds very much like communism to me. Let's see what these people have to say. Now, the main character in this video that they're going to focus on for the majority of it is this woman here. Her name is Glendana. She'll appear sporadically within the first 2 minutes and then be the main focus in the last 4. But anyhow, let's get to the video, shall we? Nice tchotchkes there of Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Disneyland is supposed to be the happiest place on Earth. But for the people who work there, it's not so simple. The problem is that Anaheim has become one of the country's most expensive places to live.
Oh, well, it's become one of the most expensive places to live. And of course, if I choose to live there, and I choose to work for Disney, it's Disney's responsibility to pay me enough to be able to afford to live there, right? Just like if I want to eat out at gourmet restaurants every night, it's Disney's job to pay me what I need to make to be able to afford those gourmet restaurants, because Disney is responsible for my choices, right?
And wages haven't kept up. Workers say they know exactly where to put the blame. Disney, the city's largest employer.
We have been in contract negotiations with Disney in the past. In fact, the last negotiations included a protracted dispute of 4 years, where we held work stoppages, hunger strikes, and so we saw that it is very difficult to bargain with Disney. And in fact, we've seen our wages depressed.
And that's because wages aren't keeping up with inflation?
That's correct.
Okay, so this is a common misnomer, right? That, Disney isn't keeping up with the inflation by raising their wages. Let me explain something to all of you. First of all, inflation first represents itself in a raise in the cost of goods, well before it represents itself in a raise in salaries. That's just how inflation works. Always works that way. First, the cost of goods go up, then lagging way, way behind is an increase in one's salary. It never keeps up, okay? You know what that means? It means that the people that are going to Disneyland aren't as many as could be, because guess what? Their wages aren't keeping up with inflation either. This is a problem everybody has, okay? What do you think? Disney's just going to miraculously pull money out of Mickey Mouse's ass and give it to you people? Do you think Mickey Mouse just craps gold? I mean, come on. The people who are working out there, who go to Disney, who go to this Disneyland motel, their wages also haven't kept up with inflation. Everybody out there who's making money, getting paid salaries that they're then using to spend to go to Disney, oh yeah, all their salaries are keeping up with inflation. It's just our salaries are depressed and not keeping up. That's everybody. Disney can't suddenly start raising salaries when money isn't going up in regards to what they're bringing in. Yeah, let's just raise salaries out of the clear blue. We're not getting in large increase in the amount of customers coming to Disneyland. It's stayed pretty stagnant for the past 10, 15 years. But hey, we're just going to give you raises out of the clear blue. From what? There's no increase in profits, but somehow you deserve to get more money.
But the, political power that they have and the political will that they had was very difficult for
They can't give you raises.
us to beat them back.
But if there's no money, I just love this. So Disney is just greedy, right? They're just greedy. They have all this money sitting in a pool, in Scrooge McDuck's, right? In his basement, he's got this pool of gold they're all swimming around in, right? Yeah, him and his little nephews, huh? Yeah, I'm sure that's the case, right?
And so our new total is 10,907.
Negotiations broke down in February when Disney offered a 3% raise over 3 years and the union walked away. So now they've taken a different tack, collecting signatures for a ballot measure that would raise the minimum wage for the city's hospitality workers at Anaheim's largest resorts to $15 an hour, and would then increase wages annually until they reached $18 an hour by 2022.
Communism. Hey, we don't get what we want. We'll just go to the state and make the state coerce Disney into paying us money they can't afford. And then what happens is ticket prices going up at Disney, right? And then less people go to Disney, and then Disney has to lay people off. In addition, if you're forcing them to raise the salaries when they're subsequently not getting more people coming in, they're going to have to lay people off. And they're not going to employ as many new people. So Disney will employ less people. They'll lay people off, right? But hey, you legacy workers there will make a little bit more at the expense of everyone else. Yeah, that is socialism. Okay, fast forward a bit. And here is Glen Dana's apartment community. Looks like a nice place, right? Those look like nice apartments in a nice community. Lots of grass and trees and bright light. Lots of nice colors. Muted, but nice. Doesn't look so bad to me. Looks like she lives okay on her so-called paltry salary, right? What's to complain about, huh? Well, apparently a lot. Let's get to Glen Dana.
I turned 30 years at Disneyland this year, and one of my longtime guests gave it to me as a gift.
This is what I don't understand, okay? She doesn't like Disney so much she's worked there for 30 years, right? She's worked there for 30 years. And by the way, all those little Disney tchotchkes around her house, those are gifts. The place she works, she's not allowed to get tips in the form of money, but people can give her gifts and such. And if you're having such a hard time monetarily, honey, why don't you sell some of them tchotchkes, huh? Put them on eBay or something.
So I love this piece very much.
The name is a hippie name.
But I work in this beautiful room up in the Venture Tower, and the windows up at the Venture Tower that overlook downtown Disney, and we have the best view in town of fireworks.
What do you love about your job?
I work the 2 to 10 shift, so we have 4 meal periods that happen. We have breakfast in the morning. We put out a beautiful spread like salmon, prosciutto, Mickey waffles, and then in the afternoon we serve 3 appetizers, such things like mushroom ratatouille, which I guess is really good. So it's like a party every night in my own house.
Boy, it sounds like a gourmet restaurant, huh?
Disney works hard to keep the park magical for visitors and to keep the company profitable for shareholders. At 58 years old, Glendana feels the magic too. And what Disney offers her is a job. But at $15.70 per hour, she says they don't pay her enough to live in Orange County.
Okay. So who's making her live in Orange County, right? That's number one. You choose where you live. So she chooses to work at Disney, right? It's her choice, all right? She's choosing to work there, so it's her responsibility to find affordable housing. And if she can't find affordable housing in Orange County near where she works, well, she could always find it somewhere else and then take a bus or something. It's her choice. So she has chosen to put herself in a situation to live in a place where she can't afford to live, but somehow that's Disney's responsibility to pay for? Okay, continue.
She rents a room from a friend and keeps the rest of her possessions in a storage locker.
It's the only bad thing about not having your own refrigerator, because you have to hunt around for everything.
By the way, I would like to point out that this broad is not lacking in girth. Maybe if she wanted to save some money, she might eat a little less. Just an observation.
Now, Sally likes to share some of my lunch. Yeah, she's talking to me.
Oh boy, I'm smelling feminist here. Cat, 58, no kids. Oh boy.
Do you ever find yourself hungry at work?
Yes.
And is it tough because you're serving food?
Yes.
She's hungry? Let's get a close-up of this broad, okay? She's got the triple chin going there. She ain't missing any meals, right? I mean, she's got some major weight going on. She's tipping the scales at around 200. So, yeah, she's if she's going hungry, oh man.
It's like you want to cheat and eat the food, but we're not allowed to do so. I just say to myself that lunch will be soon, and then I'll do what I have to do.
I think you could do to miss a few meals, to be honest.
Disney, which is an investor in Vice, wouldn't speak to us on camera. But in a statement, the company said its starting rates range from $11 an hour to $17.75 an hour, amounts in line with market averages. A union-sponsored survey of Disney's employees found that among 5,000 respondents, nearly 80% of them said they are proud of their work, but 73% say they don't earn enough to cover basic expenses.
Why would you take a job that doesn't pay enough to cover basic expenses? Oh, because you don't have very much human capital. You have very little in the way of marketable skills, so you're essentially making as much as you can make. And you're not going anywhere else because either you can't go anywhere else or you don't want to go anywhere else. So it essentially boils down to your own personal choices. Again, how is Disney responsible for this? I don't understand. Does anybody in this video take personal responsibility for their choices?
But Disney says the survey was unscientific and not representative of its 30,000 member workforce. The company is co-sponsoring the opposition to the ballot measure through a group called No on the Anaheim Job Killer Initiative, which is a project of the Anaheim Chamber of Commerce.
I can tell you there's groups that are looking at Anaheim. They think twice before investing in the marketplace when there's challenges like this.
So this bill is like a big sign saying do not do business in Anaheim, basically.
No kidding. Yeah, if you're forcing people to pay a progressive minimum wage that's going to go up $1 a year and start at 15, first of all, you're barring entry for the majority of low-skilled workers, okay? Because most of these low-skilled workers do not bring $15 worth of value. See, what you have to understand is that to hire you, a company is going to have to make a little bit of money off you. Otherwise, why hire you? If they're going to lose money hiring you, they're going to hire somebody else. So they must make some kind of profit off of your labor, okay? Unless you want to go open your own Disneyland, all right, you're going to have to work for somebody unless you have the kind of skill to open your own business, which clearly these people don't, or they would have, okay? So yeah, you're working for somebody else. You have to bring some extra value beyond what they're paying you, okay? If you can't do that, they're not going to hire you. So you're automatically limiting the number of people that can get jobs, right? At the same time, you're forcing the employer to pay those people who are coming into an entry-level position a salary which may or likely is not realistic, okay? And doesn't represent what kind of human capital you bring to the job. So yeah, it's a big don't do business in Anaheim bill, this minimum wage bill they want to pass.
Absolutely. If this becomes the policy of how Anaheim operates, it's a very dangerous precedent, a huge, huge slippery slope for us to attract investment.
What about wages, though? Because essentially for a lot of people, they've seen maybe a 40-cent or 50-cent raise since the recession, basically. Can you understand if they were for 20 years rolling along and then hit the stagnation, how that feels like they're losing money?
Okay, greaseball. By the way, I love these Vice reporters. They look like bums, right? He looks like a greasy bum, okay? Cut your hair, comb your hair, put on some professional attire instead of that denim crap suit, okay? You're not a rebel. You're supposed to be a professional. Of course, you can't act like one because you work for Vice, which they're not professional either. I really don't understand what this greaseball is puzzled about, okay? If somebody has human capital and increase their capital, then they will increase their salary by getting promoted at their current job to a higher position, or they'll find another job that pays better. If they want to stand still and remain stagnant, they stay at the same job, at the same salary. The truth of the matter is a certain job is only going to generate a certain amount of wealth above and beyond what the person is making for their salary until it just hits a ceiling, right? I think Glendana has hit like the ceiling of her human capital and how much wealth she can generate in her job of scooping up Fruit Loops for people, okay? Good Lord, man. If these people won't increase their salaries, why don't they increase their human capital and get better jobs?
When somebody's in a position and decide to stay in the position, nobody locks them in that job. So if they're unhappy with the progress they're making in that specific job or in that company, their choice is to go look in the free market and find another job. And for those that want to improve, reach out to your company. Say, I'd like more training. I'd like the opportunity.
But if they're
That precisely. So he's right. He's right on the money, and he said exactly what I said. We're holding these people accountable for their actions. They have agency. They've made their choices. They have to live with them. It's not Disney's responsibility to pay for these people's decisions. Actions have consequences, good or bad, for the person. It's up to them to suffer the consequences of those actions, not for their employer to bail them out.
58 years old, what kind of training are they going to get?
Well, she should have thought of that before she stayed in the same job for 30 years.
Well, that's a decision that they've made. And so where is it the responsibility of the employer to cover that? Their job is to provide a job.
Bingo! It's not my job to make up for your shortfalls in judgment.
Disney offers Disney University classes to thousands of its employees, which the company says makes them more marketable job candidates. Glendana tried management training more than a decade ago. At her age, she isn't interested in more classes, and
That's her choice. Look at this. She had an opportunity. I love this. She had an opportunity to be a manager, right? 10 years ago. And she passed it up. I don't want to change. I like the job I have. I don't want to change jobs. I don't want more responsibility. I don't want more work. Well, then why would you be paid more?
she doesn't have time to wait for better wages in future contracts.
But working there for 30 years. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I waited 30 years and now I have no time. Whose fault is that? 10 years ago you had a chance to be a manager, you passed it up. Think of what you could have done in that 10-year period. You'd have finished your manager's training, become a manager. You could have moved up the ranks of management to a high position. You could be making 50, 60 bucks an hour now. But no, that's not right, because you like the job you have now, and you feel that you should be able to stay at that job and be paid double, even triple what you're making now, because Disney has so much money, right? And they should just throw as much of it at you as possible. Right? Because you're entitled. You're a good employee. Why should you have to change?
What do you say when they say just change jobs, just do something else?
Well, I have tried. Right now, I don't think it's just Disney. I think it's all over. Corporations are not paying rent, food, everything else is going up, but wages are not.
So this is an excuse, right? So she's really just too lazy, okay? She's really just too lazy, too set in her ways to find another job, okay? Her excuse is that wages are remaining stagnant. That doesn't mean that another job might not start off at a higher salary, right? Now, within that industry, the wages now may not be increasing, but you'll make more money than you are now, right? Yeah, I don't want to go through the effort. I'm stuck in my ways. And she said herself, she doesn't have time. Doesn't have time, doesn't have the energy, doesn't feel like it. But that's Disney's fault, right?
And so I have tried to look for another job.
But, no, you did. Oh, you tried, but none of them were good enough for you, right? Meaning, I didn't really like how much they paid, and I didn't like the job, and it's not better than what I'm doing now. It might have paid more, but it was a lot more work, and I'm kind of set in my ways, and I like just scooping up Fruit Loops for little kids, because really what she does is works in one of these little continental lounges. You know, like if you go to one of these cheap hotels, and you get up in the morning, and there's some coffee, and some Fruit Loops, and some Cocoa Puffs. That's really where she's working, okay? It ain't no gourmet lounge, okay? She tried to make it sound like that, like it was some kind of grand gourmet restaurant, and oh, it's so grand, and I'm getting paid this piddly little salary. Nah, it's like a continental breakfast place.
But I have fun at my job. I love my job, and I have long-term relationships there.
Oh, there you go. Well, stay at your job then. But that's your choice, and it has consequences. One of them being you're going to continue to make the same salary.
30 years I've given Disney smiles and made the magic. Why should I change?
And there it is, really. As I said, she feels entitled, right? I shouldn't have to change. It's all about me. I should. That's idealism, right? The ideal is that she should be making enough money to pay rent and have a beautiful bungalow and a nice Lexus and everything. Yeah, those rich 1%ers, right? They're up there in their ivory towers at Disney, eating their salmon and their crepes, and I'm down here, eating my crappy food, and, well, you chose that. I really don't get this. So Disney is supposed to pay her more money because she wants more money, but, and she wants socialism to solve the problem, and she wants them to raise the minimum wage, the government that is, and force Disney to pay her more money. So what do you think of Glendana? Should she get more money? Should she get a higher salary just because she wants it and because she shouldn't have to change? All right? Let me know in the comments below, and please like and subscribe and check out my Patreon, where I have a twice-a-week podcast. You'll find the link in the description below. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.